So today's show is another story about a restaurant that blows up in Brooklyn and then comes to Manhattan. I love it. Last year we did Sweet Chicks, we did Pies and Thighs. Both of these were Brooklyn spots that came to the Lower East Side and killed it here. So, restaurant in question, Speedy Romeo. Amazing story. They've got no gas. All they cook is wood-fired. They opened up in Brooklyn, Clinton Hill, the border of Bed-Stuy. The original spot did great. Now they're on Clinton Street, and I'm so happy because this is a 2-minute walk from my apartment. Restaurant's got really good fine dining experience. That's where the chef came from, out of John George University. These two guys went to college together, and now they opened this place and the one in Brooklyn. Insane pizzas, insane food off the grill. I love the concept. Sort of a guy that's doing fine dining saying, you know, let's wrap ourselves around really good casual and great pizza. And I bought shoes today. Yep, pizza themed. I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food. Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
Tell me this story, because the more I'm getting to know you guys, there's this like backstory that actually goes back. You guys met in college, was that the deal?
Yes, we both went to
Arizona.
Arizona State University.
State, yeah.
I studied industrial design. Todd studied communications.
Yep.
I had projects. I had these long deadlines, and then Todd was a communications major, and he had to watch a movie and then write a report on it, and so
Yes, good call.
we all partied a lot.
College experience.
College experience, and so from there I started to cook to make money, just to get a paycheck, get some extra cash in my pocket. There's this place called Pita Jungle. It was like a shawarma joint.
It was awesome.
It was very popular, it was very busy. They threw me in on the line there, and it was the most unorganized kitchen I'd ever worked in my life. From there I decided to go to culinary school here in Soho, the French Culinary Institute. And you know, at this time Todd had moved to LA and started his casting. And
Yeah, well, I was working at a creative artist agency, CAA, started in the mailroom, worked my way up to the motion picture literary department, and decided I wanted to come back to New York after about 3 or 4 years of that. And then we met up again, and then I had an excuse to go to some fine dining restaurants. And
You were John George then?
Yeah.
right into, as soon as I started French Culinary Institute, I called Jean Georges to see if I could intern and work for free.
Right.
The soon-to-be chef de cuisine answered the phone. He was the sous chef at the time. I asked if I could come intern. He said, come tomorrow. I went, and then that turned into a 9-year run with Jean Georges.
Inc. What led you guys to this project in Brooklyn?
Well, we always kind of talked about opening a bar and
Making money.
making money, and frequenting the place, hanging out, My parents owned a racehorse named Speedy Romeo back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I always thought it would be a fun name for a bar, and we always talked about it. And one day, Justin was canvassing Brooklyn. He lived in Fort Greene for 10 years.
I traveled with Jean Georges for 3 years. And so after being on the road, I was just like, I don't want to be on a subway. I don't want to be on a plane. I want to walk to work. So that's when it started. I'm gonna canvass the neighborhoods in Brooklyn to find a location to do something. I was crossing the street that was a block away from Greene, and I saw the liquor sign out of the corner of my eye.
A huge sign off the side of the building.
Yeah, and I was just like, ooh, that's what I want. I want something that looks like it's old. I want something that we can build in that looks like it's been there forever to make our restaurant look like it's been there forever.
First thing we're doing is steak tartare. So this is strip loin prime we get. So the end pieces of the prime
we cut up, dice, season for steak tartare, and then the middle pieces we portion for the steak
Gotcha.
dish. Okay, so this is just sourdough toast, 2 pieces
Over the wood.
over the wood. So everything we try to do here has some sort of wood smoke to it. So I'm portioning this, by eyeball here,
You hand cut that or coarse grind?
hand cut. So it takes a little time, but that's okay. It's better that way. I think it's better mouth feel.
Yep.
This steak tartare is then seasoned with Malden sea salt. So I like to look at this like I'm, acting like this is a burger or a steak. I'm putting salt on it so that it's, another piece of protein. So I know that I
Seasoned.
see the salt going on there. I
Right.
know it's seasoned. As soon as this toast comes off, it's hot now. I'm putting it on the plate, and then once it comes off, then
Brush it with a little garlic. Smart.
quick
It's
brush of
And
garlic.
there's tons of flavor from that. That garlic clove split, all those oils and esters are in there.
Exactly.
It's a great way to get garlic flavor.
Okay. So then this is salsa verde we make. It is parsley, capers, anchovies, sourdough bread soaked in water, garlic clove. Process all this, finish it with some lemon juice and salt. After that, chili flake as the heat. I'm always trying to add some sort of heat element to all the dishes. We try to get the best olive oil we can get. This is Sicilian olive oil, always last season's press. So the most recent stuff. A good amount of this. So I like to take the back of the spoon, and I feel like I'm basically creating an emulsion. We're not adding any egg yolk to this. This is a steak tartare. It's just very classic. So you can see you're kind of starting to get an emulsion here, just based off the salt and the meat, pulling some moisture out of that, and then your olive oil
Yep.
mixed into it. And then to finish this off, Pecorino. Steak tartare crostini.
That's a nice sized portion too, man.
Fernando, give me some of the small logs.
Why the choice for no gas? Why the choice for all wood?
For me to do my own place had been a stress in my life from the whole time I was working for Jean-Georges, because it was always in the back of my mind, I want to do my own thing.
Most chefs.
So I was just like, how do I do something unique? And so I'd seen this wood-burning grill in a restaurant we did in Las Vegas at his steakhouse.
They
And I
make
was
these in
like,
Texas.
Yes.
Mesquite, Texas.
Yep.
So I was like, let's just save the money on bringing a gas line in, and let's only prep in the wood-burning oven and on the wood-burning grill, because that will tie my hands behind my back to not do anything I'd ever done with Jean-Georges, because I'm only cooking in an oven and on a wood-burning grill. That really, forced me to be creative and come up with dishes on my own instead of just go from what I knew.
Primitive way of cooking, but you also have to be extremely creative to pull it off.
And I can't think of another place that just has a single fuel and it's wood in New York.
We blanch these off in a courtbouillon, some
Acidulated to keep the color, blah, blah, blah. It's a
Exactly.
classic
A lot of
artichoke
parsley
cookery.
ripped in there, onion, celery, and then a lot of our grill work here we baste with an herb brush. So this is rosemary, thyme,
Sage.
sage. So once you're continually cooking with this throughout the night, you're getting your more and more added flavor to the brush, the oil, the grill. It's all getting char. So then that's going on to get some color, a little bit of a baste.
Well, that was quick.
So you can see the color
Yep.
that's happening on that. I'm just gonna give it a little more love, just a second there. Now this is the artichoke plate. This is a mint puree.
How do you keep the color on that? Do you blanch the mint?
Blanch the mint, just rinse it with cold water once it comes out of the
Shock.
boiling water, just real quick in the
Right,
hot water.
right.
Just a couple leaves of watercress, a little bit of arugula. These are some mustard greens. Artichoke's got some color on it now. I'm setting that down. This is just an herb mix that we use. It's like parsley, tarragon,
The old fiends herb, basically.
basically. So to season this, a little bit of
Malden.
Malden around, a little bit of chili, lemon juice as well, mostly to season the salad. These are some croutons. So basically, once you start eating through this, what we tell the customer is that take the leaves from the underside. dip them into this aioli that's in the cavity.
The way you would eat the leaves, that's the fleshy part.
Right, the underside. So
Right,
you would take from these
right.
leaves, dip in the aioli, and then discard your leaves to the side, and then you're left with this artichoke heart salad underneath. Mint puree just for some color on top.
All right.
A little line of chili. Now we have two types of olive oil. What we like to use for our meat dishes is a spicy oil, and then this is a sweet oil, so it has a little better finish. It's nicer for, you know, a dish like this. Voila,
Looks
that's it.
beautiful. It seems like everybody's got octopus on the menu these days, right? It's like it's having it, like kale had its moment, or is having its moment. Octopus too. It's like you can't go out to eat, and it's like it's like ubiquitous.
Right.
So what's the story of this? Who do you get it from? Where's it from? Is it Portugal? Is it Greece? Is it Florida?
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
We get it from Peerless Fish.
Fearless. Bobby Damasco.
Yeah. So herb brush onto the grill, and then basically you could smell that. You could smell like the sage and
Yep.
these things happening. So I like to oil these things off the heat, otherwise it's going to flare up too much. And then from there, now we're just bringing these into the flame. You know, with all the seafood on the wood burning grill, I don't like to get too much char on it at all. I just want to get that like smokiness and the brown and a little bit of, you know, golden brown color to it. These are whole baked potatoes with rosemary, garlic, thyme, seasoned, wrapped in foil, a whole tray. So they take up a lot of that aromatic of all that garlic and the herbs and everything. Cool them down, then chop them up, and then into the fryer so they get super crispy. It's basically blanching the potato before we fry them. This is a hazelnut romesco we make. Now, this doesn't take too long. You know, we're just wanting to get some color on this and let it pick up that smokiness from the grill. All right, so now potatoes are crispy.
Indeed, they look it.
So then you're gonna see a trend here of the old classic lemon juice squeeze. A little bit of sea salt. Now, this is a chili oil we make. So this is toasted ancho chilies over the wood fire to give more smoke.
It's got a kick to it.
A little bit. We take the seeds out, so it's
Okay.
not so bad. But there's a little bit of star anise in there. There's a cinnamon stick. So it has kind of a little bit of a Asian background as well too. All right, and then just finish this off with celery hearts cut and then
I like celery and
leaves.
seafood. I've always thought they go together.
Exactly.
You taste the star anise in that oil right away. Bloody good. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, Americans like didn't eat octopus forever, and then they began to appear in the aughts on menus, and now it's like nuts. It's great.
So smoke from the romesco, smoke from the oil,
Smoke from the grill.
smoke from the grill.
Beautiful.
So all day it's 3 octopus, one's to go, steak tartare to go, a dozen wings. Stuffed pepper magic. Yeah, rosemary on top, drizzle of that oil that was on the tray, a little bit of lemon juice, and that's it.
Italian anchovies come in a big tin. You got to soak them, then you got to peel them by hand one by one. But these are the best anchovies. That's the skin side, that's the flesh side. Oh man, so good. The menu gets designed around it. Pizza became kind of front and center because you had it wood fired up and slash pizza.
Yep.
It's just, you know, I wanted to make a menu that was approachable by all. You know, I'd learned from Jean-Georges that, you know, he started to do ABC Kitchen and some other places, and, you know, many a meal we'd had at some extremely fancy restaurants together where he was just like, you know, culinary genius won't foot the bill. Customers and seats do, and I knew that I needed to make a menu that was approachable by all. The pizza was a good way for us to capture people immediately because it's just like, oh, there's pizza. I like pizza. Who doesn't these days? Yeah. And it's a good way to get them in the door. But then once they get in there and they're like sitting there and they've ordered their pizza, and then a dry-aged bone-in ribeye lands at the table next to them, and they're just like,
Where was that on the menu?
right. I didn't.
And there's all these cool grilled vegetables. I mean, you have this whole side of them. I mean, the pizza's kind of a centerpiece, but everything around it's crazy good.
Yeah.
Especially in Brooklyn, like we're so family oriented over there, you know, and a father and a kid will come in, kid will have a margarita pizza, dad has a steak and a glass of wine.
Strip steak. We say Kansas City strip. Why not? We're from Kansas City. You know, so, or I am. So is Jimmy, who's happily applying that salt to that bad boy. So it's prime steak from DeBraga. We go about 18 ounces. We're cooking it fat side down. And then we're basically just going to cook that to the desired temp. When I worked with Jean George, this grill was at the steakhouse in Las Vegas. And so that's where I fell in love with this brand of grill. That's when the concept sort of came from, you know, can we do wood burning oven? Can we do also wood burning grill? You know, if you don't have wood, you're not going to get this flavor. There's no other way to achieve it. This is piquito crab mixed with a cumin mayo. So this is your crostini. Crab goes on top. Then we have a nasturtium vinaigrette. So this is nasturtium flowers, which are these here, minced up with red onion, and then almost macerated in white wine vinegar. Very floral, but it's almost like a mignonette. So if you're thinking your seafood here, your crab with your mayo, and then you've got fat with your mayo, and then some acid here to cut that. Then it's blanched asparagus tips. This is watermelon radish. A little extra crunch, a little extra spicy, a little extra pepper, and then torn nasturtium leaf or nasturtium petals for garnish. Voila.
Let's break your pizza down. What do you do for the dough? Because it's a really great crust. I mean, we're retarding the fermentation. It's 1, 2 days, 3 days?
2 days, mix the dough, try to do it at the same time every day, around noon. From there, it's fresh yeast, water, salt, into the mixer. Let that sit in the mixer for a little while. From there, portion that into bus tubs, let that sit out overnight, give the big proof. From there, next day, same time around noon, so it's right at 24 hours outside of the refrigerator. Then pound it down, portion the balls onto trays, wrap those, and then into the walk-in for another day. The difference here, this is the round oven. You know, where the other oven had the fire in the back. So this just makes it so much easier to cook because you're just watching, you know, all you have to do is, it's obviously hottest near the fire. So I'm just looking at the crust near the fire,
right,
watching it get the color we want,
spin it,
turn it, you know.
But how long is that in the oven? Minute and a half, 2 minutes?
Ish, yeah. So with the flame on the right side here, you're getting a big convection, you know, because it's sucking air into the hole, and then it's going over the flame and then wrapping itself around.
Yeah, you can see the smoke moving like counterclockwise.
You want to give it that raise to give it that one last broil. This is the King Salami. So this is my dad's nickname. He calls himself the King Salami. It's 3 different types of salami: hot soppressata, sweet soppressata, and then a finocchione.
I'm looking online at the menu and I'm like, all right, so you know, you got your margarita, that's kind of like the serious thing, but then like you got these like whack flavors, and I'm like, what? You know, I'm reading about like the Rodney Dangerfield, the Dick Dale with pineapple. Okay, what? And then I get to like Paul's Boutique, and I'm a Beastie Boys fan, so I kind of get the reference to very New York, very Beasties. But then it's like a Katz's sandwich on a pie, which I have to tell you, I was like so like hating it until I had it. I was like, this is an abomination. Like, Katz's is like right there. If I want a pastrami sandwich, I will walk to Houston Street. It's a 4-minute walk from here. What's up?
I mean, we wanted to have a love letter to the Lower East Side. I mean, Katz's is the Lower East Side. It's New York. I talked to the owner of Katz's,
right,
and I said, hey, we want to put your pastrami on our menu and have a Katz's pastrami pizza. He was a little hesitant. He was like, you know, I gotta try it. You know, I don't know if we could just allow this.
Correct. I like that. That's good.
So
Protect the brand.
I came back and I told Justin about it. He's like, all right, let's fire one off right now for him. We make it, walk it over. You know,
Bingo.
He eats it. He brings over all the old school Katz guys to eat it, and they were just.
And it's ridiculously good. I mean, I must say, I was like hating it conceptually until I did it, and I'm like, holy mother of God, this is delicious.
Dijon bechamel. So,
And you're using actually Dijon mustard in there. It's not like deli mustard. It's Dijon.
no, French,
Okay.
like my brand.
Right.
Okay, so a dollop of this going down. All right, that's that. Now, egg wash
For the outer.
for the outer, because in true Lower East Side fashion, why would you not want everything bagel crust? So now, Katz's pastrami, sliced thin, basically in little rosettes here. You want to kind of open it up so that the heat lets in.
It's a good amount of
in the
pastrami,
oven.
man.
Listen, think, man. You go to Katz's. Do you think they don't skimp on the pastrami when they?
Don't be cheap.
So smoked red cabbage sauerkraut, just in dollops, just to kind of add that funk to it. Now, everything bagel crust, white.
And you make this stuff all in house.
Make it in house. Fry the garlic chips ourselves. Toast the sesame seeds, dried onions, then fontina cheese. Okay, from here into the oven. Now this one's tricky with that everything bagel crust because you don't want to get it too hot, too close to the flame because all that will just burn.
All the stuff on the
completely.
top. That crust is blistering up beautifully, though.
A little char on that crust is good because who doesn't want a little burn on their bagel, you know? So then, Thousand Island dressing, we make in house. Voila. This is the Casey Royale, so it's bechamel down on the dough first, roasted kale, pancetta that we cook off in the wood burning oven, then clams on top, parsley, tarragon.
Right, like almost a fiend's herb minus a few things.
So your tarragon's working there, parsley as well, and then a lemon with chili to squeeze over the top.
What is Provel cheese? Tell me how this Wisconsin American dairy factory cheese, which is kind of what it is, ended up on your menu. I'd never heard of it.
I grew up in Kansas City. My dad's from St. Louis. And so one of the mayors, I don't know which one it was, but at some point he wanted to put St. Louis on the map by telling people that they had a cheese that was like their signature cheese. And what he wanted it to do is have the same mouthfeel, hot or cold. That was the challenge.
Wow.
That was the, for me, Provel cheese is the definition of umami. And after you cook it and it caramelizes and it's gooey, it's like, so that was burnt into my head as a child. That
So if I was from St. Louis, I would know Provel cheese.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Like in St. Louis, it's a thing.
100%.
You
Okay.
see people walking in with St. Louis Cardinals hats, and they got like a smile from ear to ear. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
just so happy to eat it.
Why it's brilliant. I mean, so what is this? That's a bechamel, Provel. What are the cheeses?
It's a mix of provolone, cheddar, and Swiss, which is
in Wisconsin, which means
is an
nothing.
impossibility.
Thank you.
know,
But
and-
anyway.
Yeah.
But it also
Says
has,
it on the box.
But it also has liquid smoke in it, so that's what adds that extra element of like umami,
Thing.
craziness. This is the Kind Brother. So as Todd and I met in Arizona, doing what we did out there, we kind of had a hippie little thing going on for a while. So it was like, Kind Brother, hey Kind Brother, blah, blah, blah. So why not put whole roasted mushrooms? Why not put a farm egg? Why not put smoked mozzarella on this pizza that is the Kind Brother?
Kind
okay?
brother.
So, bechamel we make every day. From here, this is 3 different types of mushrooms that we roast whole. So there's button mushrooms, portobellas, shiitake. So we season them with salt, olive oil. They go onto sheet trays. They roast in the wood-burning oven whole until they cook tender. And then from there we take them out, cut them up, season them with chopped oregano, chopped green chili, olive oil, and salt. A little secret ingredient.
Can never go wrong with some Provel. Sneak that in.
Little secret.
I'm leaving here with a bag of that stuff tonight. You know that, right?
Provel down now. After this is a farm egg. We get our eggs from the farmer's market. So thing is with this though is eggs going on raw, but we want to spread that white out around the outside. Otherwise it gets to be a little too hard for that to cook all the way
Right,
through. So we
right.
want to spread that white out, and then
Plunk the yolk down.
egg yolks going right on. Torn sage, Kind Brother,
burning sage.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good. Purifies, gets rid of the bad spirits or something. What's the
Yeah.
theory
that's
with
it.
burning sage?
That's it. Okay. And then our
Mix of
Pecorino and Parmesan
Right.
mix.
sheep's milk, cow's milk.
That's it. So with this thing ripping at the right temp, it's like 90 seconds start to finish. Goal is to keep that egg yolk nice and runny. So that's about it. So we're pretty much there. You can see that egg yolk is just set. This chocolate cake, it's basically a flourless chocolate cake. We steam it, cooked, covered in a convection oven, electric at that. So from here, just crumbling this graham cracker. Then this is marshmallow we whip, egg whites, sugar, corn syrup,
Yep.
and vanilla bean. And so then this is just whipped over a double boiler. A little bit of marshmallow
A dollop,
on top.
a prudent amount.
Okay, so now using, how do we add smoke to this dessert?
Yeah, man, you got smoke. I was wondering about that. I didn't see it going in the pizza oven.
We're
I
putting
didn't see that.
a brand in the coals in the grill until it's red hot. And then from here, this is going.
Holy shit.
How's that for your shot?
How's that for some Instagram love? Post that up there right away. That's crazy.
Boom. We call this chocolate cake with crushed graham cracker and branded marshmallow.
Oh, smells so good too. Finally, that's coming over me. That marshmallow thing, man, takes me back to my Boy Scout days. Bell, baby. Got my name
First
on
one's free, okay? Yeah.
We're gonna eat. You gotta feed us now. You know the deal. Eat, drink, and be merry. It's part of the show.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
No, man. Thank you guys for coming over here. Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.